the Heart Connection podcast, lovelies. This is a place to connect, to inspire, to heal, and to empower you to live a healthy, happy, and purposeful life from your heart. I'm Pavlina, your host. I'm an intuitive health and life coach, and I help women to connect to themselves, to step into their power and their purpose, and to heal from within. I believe that all issues we are experiencing in life, physical, mental, and emotional, arise from being disconnected from your heart, from your true self, and I'm going to help you to open your mind, to connect to your heart, and to heal from within. So let's dive right in. Hello, lovelies. This is episode 4 of the Heart Connection podcast. Welcome back. If you're coming back again, or if this is your first time, welcome. I'm so grateful that you are all here. And the topic of today's episode is, what role does spirituality play in healing your physical body, or what does spirituality mean for your health? For me, it has been quite a journey. I shared my whole healing journey in the first episode of the Heart Connection podcast. I can link the episode into the show notes. So if you haven't listened to the first episode where I shared my whole healing journey, you can go back there. But with spirituality, I guess I haven't been brought up as a religious person, so no one really in my family is spiritual or religious. I mean, my grandparents were Catholic and they used to go to church, but my parents never did, because I grew up until I was 9, we lived in a communist country. I grew up in Czechoslovakia, no, Czech Republic, of course, but so religion was pretty much prohibited, and spirituality was nothing that I heard about until later on in my life. But naturally, I always felt ever since I was a child that there's more to this life, that it can't be just what we see. I think I even had dreams, so I had different feelings where I felt like there's a different dimension to this physical reality, and then there's more to this life, and that I never believed, or it was really traumatic for me as a child when I found out that we have to die one day and then there won't be anything afterwards. That was almost unbearable for me, and I sort of realized, or I had a feeling it has to be different. There's more to it. There's a different reality. This reality it didn't sound right. It didn't sound right to me. That is just this physical world, and it took quite a long time for me. And when I was younger, I never used to be a happy child. Like I said, if you listen back to my whole healing story, I grew up with an alcoholic father, so life wasn't rosy. My reality wasn't rosy. It wasn't easy, and I used to live in my own little world. I used to I always wanted to have friends, but I also had my own little world. I used to, ever since I was a child, I used to journal, I used to write poetry, and I would turn inwards quite often. But at the same time, I had always some health issues ever since I was pretty much ever since I was born. I was already born with eczema, and during my life I experienced so many different health issues, physical and mental health issues, and I've always been quite an emotional person, and this is all connected. But until about couple years ago, when I really got into, 3 years ago maybe, until I got more into spirituality, I started understanding what it's all about. But at the same time, like, I'm sure I was guided, because actually when I was deciding where I wanted to go to uni, I actually wanted to go study religious studies, even though I wasn't brought up religious. Like I said, my parents weren't religious, and I was brought up atheist, so there was no links whatsoever to religion, to spirituality. And I was really, at the time, I was fascinated with Judaism, like the old teachings, and I read so many books about Judaism, and it was just something, even though my family isn't Jewish, but I was drawn to it because I guess the deeper messages that I could sense there, or the deeper connection, I admired the connection I read about in some books, the people had to God, to their traditions, to their rituals. I found it really fascinating, and for me, I lacked it in my life. I was lacking this connection, I guess, because I never felt like I had enough support from my family, I guess. I had friends. I always had some friends, but I never felt like I had really, really close friends. We moved when I was a child, and I went to different schools. Then when we came back, I went to a school for a couple of years, and then I switched schools again. So I used to go to different schools, and then I went to a different city when I went to uni again. So I never had close friends. Like a lot of people have friends since kindergarten, or since, primary school or whatever. I had friends throughout my life, and I still do have some really good friends, but I often felt like I didn't have a best friend, or I've always craved a really close connection. It might have been also because I didn't get enough love from my father, or so I was always craving love. I was craving connection. I was craving friendship. And just thinking about it now while I'm talking, I guess maybe all this time I was just craving a connection to source, to God, to universe, to my highest self. I don't know, maybe it makes a lot of sense now, maybe, that I didn't have this connection. And it's now I do. It doesn't mean it's always easy. Especially when you start this spiritual journey, like a self-development journey, or when you awaken, let's say, it can feel a bit lonely in the beginning, because especially if you live in a society that's not spiritual, that's not religious, that's not used to or these kind of things. So even if there are some people, then it might not feel safe to talk about your connection to the universe, or God, or source, or even to your highest self. It wasn't comfortable for me in the beginning, and I did feel lost. I didn't know. All of a sudden, I felt really alone, because I had a lot of connections with people from different countries, from overseas, and a lot of these people weren't living close by, or we would meet in some online workshops or even in-person workshops, but nobody was really living close by, and I didn't have any close friends I could talk to about these things. So it was quite a lonely journey at times, to this awakening journey, this self-development journey, which I should maybe go a little back in telling you this story, and to come to the whole point of this episode. But I shared before that I struggled from different health issues throughout my life, and especially since my early 30s. I just didn't want to rely on medication anymore. I didn't want to use steroid cream for my eczema. I didn't like taking any pills, because I had some negative experiences with taking a lot of medication. So I really started looking for alternative solutions, let's say, and I would change my lifestyle, my diet, and then I got really into self-development. And over time, I would get more into spiritual things. Like I was, a big part of my life has been yoga, but for a long time it was only the physical part of the practice, and I wasn't really looking into the spiritual parts of yoga, or the philosophy and so on. But I would practice yoga for physical reasons without realizing that the physical practice is only a small part of yoga, and that's what I started discovering over time. But so I was practicing yoga, I started living more healthily, I started meditating, and it all of it felt so good. And this, without even realizing, I was deepening or developing and later deepening a connection to my highest self and to source and to the universe, slowly. And then 3 years ago, while I was still dealing with some health issues, or 4 years ago, I went through an EFT training to become an EFT therapist, and afterwards my teacher was also teaching quantum healing. And after finishing EFT, I signed up for the quantum healing certification as well, just because I really loved my teacher, and it wasn't something I was curious about before, but it was really tempting to keep learning and to keep exploring. And as part of the quantum healing course, not only I realized that there is this whole quantum world, this whole another universe inside of us and all around us, and that we are all energetic beings, and our physical bodies, we live in a physical reality, we live in physical bodies, but our ultimate essence is energy. We are energetic beings living in physical bodies. And that was mind-blowing for me, that everything is energy, and that everything is connected, and that your emotions have energy and your thoughts have energy, and by thinking certain thoughts or feeling certain emotions, you can influence the health of your body negatively or positively, and then there's so much more to this than just your physical body, and that healing only on the physical level won't probably bring you very far. Before then, I tried so many things to heal my physical health issues. I was trying to heal not only my eczema that flared up so much that it spread all over my body, and I was also experiencing digestive issues and thyroid issues, and my whole body was just screaming at me, and Western medicine wasn't helping, and recommendations from, let's say, functional medicine and functional nutritionists, and from different healers and therapists and nutritionists and all these people. I mean, it was helpful information to a degree, and some changes I did to my life were of course beneficial for my body, but it didn't help with the chronic health issues until I started going deeper, until I started connecting to my highest self, until I started searching for underlying causes of my health issues and unblocking them on the energetic level, on the emotional level, and on the subconscious level. Nothing was changing, and it was just getting worse and worse. And then when I started getting into quantum healing, and afterwards I went even further, and I went to a few workshops which were focused on working with your chakra system and so much more, which is pretty much all the energetic level of your body and your connection to the universe and to your highest self. Until then, not much was changing. And when I started gradually healing, I started developing a stronger and stronger connection to my highest self. And I was still a bit apprehensive in the beginning, to talk about it openly, about my spiritual connection and my spiritual awakening, which happened during meditation, focusing on chakra activation and chakra harmonization. And I would always go back and focus on, research and science, and I would read books about healing and so many different things. And although some of these methods started influencing my life in a certain way, I kept getting deeper and deeper, and I did see there was definite improvement in my physical health while using EFT and quantum healing. But then in the last couple of years, I went even deeper and had a spiritual awakening, and an awakening on, of my kundalini energy, which your kundalini energy it's the energy that's connected to your chakra system, and it's sexual energy as well, but it's just connected to it. It helps you to get up high, into higher realms, higher energy levels. It helps you to connect to the source and universe. And although on the physical level it might feel like physical arousal, on the energetic level it's just pure bliss, and So this all happened for me a couple of years ago, actually, at an event with Joe Dispenza. After that, I kept searching, and for a while I was practicing meditations from Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you haven't heard of him, he has, I guess, his teachings allowed me to understand for someone who was brought up in, you know, a physical reality, and you know, everything was evidence-based for me, and someone who wasn't very spiritual. He has a great way of explaining all of these things to people who, in a scientific way, let's say, because he although he is a scientist, he works with energy, he works with spirituality. His meditations and his teachings are all focused on, you know, working with the chakras and with the energetic body and with connection to the universe and to source. Only he talks about it in scientific terms, so it's easy to understand for someone like me, or maybe someone like you who was brought up without, you know, spirituality, or in their life who was brought up atheist pretty much, you know, or let's say who didn't have a connection to their highest self, to their soul, or to the universe growing up. So I guess for me, his teachings and experiencing or learning from him during his workshops was like a stepping stone towards spirituality and towards, let's say, living as an energetic being in a physical reality. Because I sometimes still do his meditations. I went to 2 of his live workshops, and before then I read his books. And I also, before you go to a live event, you have to do 2 online programs, and so you learn all of the basics before you go to an advanced retreat. And all of these things I learned from him were invaluable, so valuable. And I still sometimes do some of his meditations. And after going to his workshops, I included working with chakras into my own practice, my own spiritual practice, my own meditation practice. And I also use it when working with clients sometimes. And it's really profound. But so that happened about 2 years ago, and after that at first I was ecstatic, you know, it was amazing to experience the spiritual awakening. But like I mentioned before, it can feel like quite a lonely journey afterwards, because all of a sudden you realize that everything that you thought was true for you is not true all of a sudden. So it's pretty much like the world as you know it crumbles, and then all of a sudden you have to sort of rebuild everything again. So people in your life, some of them might drop off because you might not have anything in common anymore, and all of a sudden, you know, you might not, because, for example, I used to be quite a party girl earlier, like in my 20s and my early 30s, and then when you start this spiritual self-development and spiritual journey, all of a sudden that doesn't feel good anymore. It doesn't mean that if you want to be spiritual or have an awakening, or you are going this journey that you can't drink alcohol. It just doesn't feel good for me at this stage. It hasn't for a couple of years now, but it might be different for you. And you know, if you're not drinking every day, or if you're not drinking, I don't know how many glasses every day, it's fine. And to be honest, I would actually love to have a glass of wine now and then. It just doesn't feel good in my body anymore. And that being said, it doesn't mean that it won't change in the future, but right now it just doesn't. So I don't drink alcohol at the moment. But there's other things as well. You know, there might be changes going on in your body that you don't understand, and you might maybe realize later. But after going through the spiritual awakening, which I guess it's hard, like I said, it's a bit hard to explain, but like I said, it's your world won't be the same. Your perception of reality won't be the same anymore. And you realize there's more to the physical world than just the physical world. And that you can feel energy, and that you might start getting messages or understanding messages you didn't perceive before. And going even further after my spiritual awakening, I don't believe in chance, you know. I don't believe that things happen randomly. I do believe things happen for a reason. So other things started coming into my life, and I can, like, looking back at it now, it's just a natural progression. You know, I discovered, for example, EFT already maybe 10 years ago, and then I forgot about it, and it came back into my life during a time when I was probably my lowest, when my health issues were the worst, maybe 5 years ago. And then through EFT, I discovered quantum healing, and during the quantum healing certifications, I discovered Joe Dispenza, and then through Joe Dispenza, I discovered something else, and then later I came across the Akashic records. If you don't know what the Akashic records are, it's probably pretty much, it's, some people say it's the library of all souls, you know. It's like Google for your soul. So all the records of all souls are stored in the Akashic records, and it's not anything material, it's on the energetic level. So there's different ways how you can connect to the Akashic records, but it's quite easy once you know how to do it. It's pretty much all is about intention. So if you have an intention to connect, you should be able to connect. There's certain ways how you can connect through, for example, I learned it from Linda Howe, who wrote several books on the Akashic records, and I just learned it from one of her books. And she uses a certain prayer that will get you there, that will establish the connection, and you can connect to the record of your own soul or anyone else's soul if you have their permission. So I was able to connect to the Akashic records, and not long after that I I already sort of knew about it, but it was another natural progression that led me to this Lively and the Inner Voice Facilitator training. And in 2020 I did the Inner Voice Facilitator training, and I learned how to connect, not only to connect to my inner voice, but also to include inner voice coaching or facilitation into my work with my clients, and help them help them to heal through inner voice coaching as well. I will do a full episode on inner voice probably soon. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but it just, other things keep feeling more aligning at the time. So I will do an inner voice episode soon, hopefully. But just for those of you who don't know what inner voice is an extension of your soul. It's the way your intuition communicates with you. So you can not only, it can help you to, you can get messages through your inner voice from your soul, from the universe, from the source, from your highest self, but it can also help you to heal on the physical level. It can help you to release some energetic blocks from your body, stuck emotional blocks from the body, which I combine it with EFT as well, because EFT, I combine them, I use them sometimes. It depends. I just follow my own guidance and my own intuition when to use which modality. But when working with clients one-on-one, I would, even during one session, I might combine both methods. So I might, for example, start with EFT, and when I have a feeling to go deeper, or that it might be a topic that's sensitive for a client, which I did a whole episode last week on EFT. So if you haven't listened to that, please go back and listen to episode 3 on healing with EFT. And that is something that works also on the subconscious level. So EFT is a modality that combines teaching from the Chinese medicine. It uses teachings from acupuncture, and it combines it with modern psychology and so on. So there's, in EFT, you use tapping on meridian points on your body to release stuck emotions that are stuck in your physical body, your energetic body, your emotional body, and that are connected to your subconscious. So with EFT, you can release blocks that are connected to physical symptoms, but also that can cause different mental health issues, emotional issues, different fears and phobias, and so on and so on. But with inner voice, it's a bit deeper, I would say. With inner voice can help you to release blocks on the soul level. So sometimes you have a physical symptom, or there's something that is blocking you from, for example, connecting deeper with yourself, connecting deeper with your highest self, or there is something you need, you just feel stuck and you don't know what it's about, and it might not be clear, or it might be too painful to talk about it, to go through it again during an EFT session, where you need to go back and sort of like it's not same as regression, but you might need to go back and feel what was happening in your body when you were going, for example, through a difficult situation, when this energy got stuck in your body and had contributed to some issues you are experiencing. With inner voice, sometimes and often you don't even have to know what the block is connected to. You might have to feel the emotions during the session, because how emotional and energetic blocks are developed is that emotions get stuck in your body, and they get stuck when you don't process them. So if you don't process emotions during a traumatic event, a stressful event, an emotional event, and you don't process the emotions, you don't feel them, you push them away, you push them in, they might get stuck, and that creates the block in your body, and that might cause different issues. It might be physical, emotional, mental, anything. So with inner voice, you might not need to know what specifically it was connected to, what event, but you might have to feel the emotion, and it's gentler, I would say, in some cases than, for example, EFT or other methods, because you just have to feel the emotions and breathe through them while you are guided by an inner voice facilitator. And sometimes it's really all it is. You might need to feel the emotion. Sometimes there's tears. Sometimes you need to move your body to help you to release the emotions. There's different ways. And like I said, I will do a full episode on inner voice soon. But this all is, for me, if somebody would have told me that this is the work I'll be doing, if somebody told me 10 years ago that this is the work I'll be doing, I wouldn't believe them, because like I said, I wasn't brought up being spiritual. Spirituality wasn't something that was common in my life or in my family, in the society where I grew up. And it might be similar for a lot of people living in the western part of the world. And so it was just like, looking back at it now, I know it has been a natural progression, and I do believe that I have been guided this whole time to get where I am now. And quite recently I went even deeper, and I just completed a training which my teacher calls it soul therapy, but it's pretty much ancestral healing. So some issues you might need to go even deeper to heal them. And for example, I've shared many times before that I have struggled with eczema my whole life, ever since I was born. And although I have it under control and most of the time it's fine, it still would flare up now and then, especially on my hands. I don't have it on the rest of my body anymore, but my hands, especially my fingers, are the places where my eczema would flare up still, when, for example, when I'm going through a stressful time in my life, or when I'm going through some emotions, when there's something really emotional. It can be in my business, in my relationship, in my family, or whatever else it is. So it's still there. It will still happen. I know how to deal with it. I have tools like EFT and inner voice work that will help me to release whatever needs to be released and healed, and the eczema will go away again. So I don't use any medication. I don't use steroid creams. I don't use anything else. A lot of the times it's enough to realize what the issue is, what was the trigger, for the eczema to flare up. But I have learned that there might be something even deeper than what I've been working through, and that I had been working through in the last few years. And especially because I was already born with the eczema, it didn't flare up the first time after I was born. I was actually already born with it. And I know that my mom had she went through some stress, like she was working at a job where her boss was stressing her out, or it was stressful for her where she was working, and it could have influenced the pregnancy as well, or my health. My inner voice taught me once that I wanted to help my mom, and that has been a pattern in my life, that I was trying to help my parents in certain ways. But already when I was still a baby in my mom's belly and she was going through this stress, I took some of the stress onto me, and that could have triggered the eczema. But at the same time, I had a feeling that it was even deeper, because my mom had eczema and both of my grandmothers. And over the last year or so, I also started learning about ancestral healing. It crossed my path several times, but it wasn't something I was looking into intentionally until maybe 6 months ago, or even less. Let's say 6 months ago. So I started looking a little bit into ancestral healing, and it was so interesting because I was looking into it, and then not even within a week, one of my friends got in touch, and she told me that she was currently doing or following these meditations done by this Czech lady who does soul therapy and ancestral healing work. And she was like, I had a feeling that you might need it right now. And there was seriously a few days after I got told I should look into ancestral healing, and that the issue might be deeper than just this lifetime. And so I looked up this lady, and I did them guided meditations to clear some of the blocks. But I ended up having an individual session with her, and even before I had the session, I signed up for the soul therapy training because I was really curious about it. And I just went through the training last week, and I'm actually certified now to do soul therapy and ancestral healing. And it was such a profound experience for me. I was able to go through it myself as a client. We would be practicing with each other, with other people in the training. I was even, my teacher used me as an example, so I had another session with my teacher, and I was able to uncover something from some of my past lives that could be connected to my eczema. And it's only been a few days, so I can't tell you right now if it really healed my eczema for good. I will let you know over time. But it was such a profound experience. I was guided to go into a past life where I was quite small. I was a child, and I stole something, and they wanted to punish me, and because I think it was in medieval times or something, and they burned my hands. And I could see my hands burned, like they were just, I could see my blackened hands, and it was so, I could feel, how painful it was, and I could feel the burning sensations. And we cleared that during the session. My teacher helped me, and the girl who was leading the session, they helped me to release this connection to this past life. And it felt, I really felt much lighter afterwards. There was a lot of emotions as well. So we cleared this, and it might be enough. I don't know. We'll see. I will definitely let you know how this story continues. But my journey, it keeps guiding me to go deeper and deeper. And I don't know if if I can even go, of course you can, it's never ending, this journey, if you can go deeper. But you know, all I wanted to say with all of this is that I don't believe that you can heal any chronic health issues if you're trying to heal them only on the physical level, because ultimately your symptoms, the manifestation, how they manifest in your body, and it doesn't matter if you have eczema or allergies, or if you suffer from digestive issues, or if you suffer from anxiety, or you have an autoimmune disease. It doesn't matter, because each body will use different symptoms, and even if it's the similar symptoms or the same symptoms I am experiencing, the underlying cause for you will be very different than for me. And so it's really necessary to go deeper and to look for the underlying causes on the energetic level. And for someone who's not experiencing physical health issues or mental health issues, you know, it can also be a preventative measure to connect to your highest self, to connect to the soul, to connect to God, to universe, to source, to angels, to whatever it is for you, whatever you call it, whatever feels right for you. But I do believe that to live fully and happily, which ultimately symptoms, whatever they are, that are signs from your body that you are disconnected from yourself, from your highest self, from source, from the universe. And ultimately it's guidance for you to go back, you know, to go back, to connect to yourself, to keep connecting to the love within, to your true, because that's ultimately your true essence, is love and peace within. Because this physical experience we are having, it can be hard, especially now what we're going through, what the whole world is going through with COVID and everything, you know. But I do believe there is a reason for it. I do believe that this whole situation is only meant to bring us closer to ourselves. And so many people are awakening these days, you know. In the last couple of years, so many people have awakened, and there will be more. I'm sure of it. And we need to go back. We need to go back to what's important, and that is ultimately your connection to your highest self, and your connection to your soul and to the universe. Because when we are healing, because we are healing ourselves by connecting, by releasing the layers of limiting beliefs, by releasing the layers of conditioning, by working through the issues we are experiencing, no matter what they are. We are releasing all these layers, all these blocks, and we are ultimately coming back to our true selves. We are ultimately coming back to our souls, and by all of this, we are raising our own vibration. You know, the more connected you are, the higher you are vibrating, and by you vibrating higher, the whole planet is vibrating higher. So by healing yourself, not only you healing yourself, but you are healing your ancestors, your children and their children, your whole family, your whole tribe, but ultimately you are healing the whole earth. You know, it's just coming home. It's coming home, coming back, and that's ultimately the most important thing. Because by healing yourself, you are I say it differently. If you are experiencing any health issues, no matter if they are physical or mental health issues, that always happens for a reason. It's usually a wake-up call for people, and for a lot of people, unless you hit rock bottom, unless it's unbearable what you are experiencing, you won't change. Most people won't change until they seriously hit rock bottom. And for me, that was maybe 5 years ago, and since then the journey has been a ride, and I'm sure there will be more, because we keep evolving, we keep growing, we keep going further. And it's been interesting this past week for me, definitely. The ancestral healing or the soul therapy certification, I went to maybe 10 different past lives, and it was interesting for me to realize that in most lives I was a healer, I was a witch. So there was always connection to God, connection to healing, connection to the universe. In one of these past lives, I was so strong. I could feel the connection to everything, to nature, to the universe. And of course I felt it in this lifetime in different meditations and during different rituals and so on. But it was so profound to feel it during the ancestral healing session. And it was a great reminder that what we are experiencing in this lifetime is just such a small part of how we've been growing over lifetimes and lifetimes. And I was able to go in one of the sessions, I was able to go all the way back to the beginning of life on Earth. And I was just a little cell floating in the ocean, and all of these things, there's so much more to this lifetime, to this life we are living than just the physical reality. And when you realize all of this, when you start learning and experiencing more and more, and when you keep growing, when you keep healing, you cannot stay ignorant to all of this. Call it spirituality, call it whatever you want, but I've seen it, I have felt it, I experience it daily with my clients, that this physical reality is only a small part of everything, and that really there's so much more. And the energy that's inside of us and all around us, it's so much stronger than anything physical. And I will keep talking about this in future episodes as well. But to wrap this up, if I have answered maybe all of the questions you may have about spirituality and healing, but if you have any questions, please do get in touch. Let me know. I would love to hear your takeaways. I would love to hear if you do have any questions. You can contact me on Instagram at pavlina.iroshkova. You can find me on my website pavlinairoshkova.com. Just get in touch. No matter where you are, you can find me. I will put everything in the show notes where you can find me. And if this is something that you would like to experience, that you would like to find more about, get in touch. And I'm going on holiday soon, but I will be back second half of July, and when I come back, I will be doing discovery calls with potential clients and intake sessions with new clients. And so if that's something that would interest you, I will be taking in new clients into my one-to-one deep healing program. There's more information on my website about the deep healing program and the work I do, and I will definitely be including soul therapy or ancestral healing into the deep healing program as well in the future. So that will be apart from EFT and inner voice work, ancestral healing will definitely become part of it as well. And there's so much more to the program. So if you want to find out more, go to my website and all the information is there. And like I said, if you have any questions or if you would like to jump on a call with me when I come back, just send me a message and we will find time for you and me to chat about it. Or like I said, if you have any questions, let me know as well. That's all for today, my lovelies. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will be back in touch next week. And until then, I'm sending you so much love from my heart to yours. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye. This episode was brought to you by my signature deep healing program. The one-on-one deep healing program is a high-level 6-month coaching and intuitive healing program for women with chronic health issues such as eczema, autoimmune disease, digestive or hormonal issues. If you are ready to connect to your true self, to step into your power and to heal from within, this program is for you. You can finally have an understanding of what your body and your soul need to heal on all levels. You will learn proven tools to get you there, and you will receive ongoing support from me throughout your healing journey. Together, we will uncover and unblock the underlying causes of your health issues so you can start living a healthy, happy, fulfilled, and purposeful life. So are you ready to take responsibility for your own health and well-being and to heal from within? Just head over to www.pavlinajiroušková.com and schedule a discovery call with me. I'm so excited to hear from you.